Some choose, and some are chosen. For Janet Macoska, it's been a little of both. Her career as a photographer developed from a simple love of music and has gone on to earn her international recognition.
She may be living here in Cleveland, Ohio, but they know of her work in New York, London, Los Angeles.
Janet is as good a photographer as you're ever going to find in rock and roll.
The work of Janet Macoska vividly provides a voiceless narration of the history of rock and roll. She manages to capture the noise, passion, rage, and grandeur of this fluid art form as a still frame of film.
She nails that passion, the beauty, the majesty, and the power of rock and roll.
Once you get into the rhythm of it, and you know kind of how people move and what side of the stage they play to and who's the more animated performer on stage. And then you just get really quiet inside to the point where you don't even hear the music. You're just like in some kind of zone. And really it's like this dance you do with the performers on stage combined with music and lighting, of which you have no control. You just kind of go with it. And that's where the creativity comes in, and it's really very internal.
Janet's relationship with photography began very early on. As a child, she seemed to always have a camera in her hand.
When I was really young, and I'm thinking about 8 years old, I found my parents' camera. So I started playing with the camera and taking pictures of the dog and the neighbors, and that got me started.
I'm like, Janet, when did you start? I want to know when you really got in this. So when she showed me a little picture when she was in this classroom situation photographing Spock, okay, Leonard Nimoy came to her school or something like that, and she shows me pictures of this. I'm like, oh my God, you got to be kidding me. You were serious when you were a little kid with a camera.
A chance encounter at radio station WKYC in Cleveland provided a doorway to Janet's professional future.
I would go down there and hang out with Jerry G and Jack Armstrong and answer fan mail for them, and they would reward me with records, which was really cool. So Sonny and Cher were on the Big Jack show. He also had a TV show, and I got my camera and I was taking pictures of Sonny and Cher answering phone calls on Jack's show, and sent it into Teen Screen magazine, which was one of the teen magazines of the day. And that was my first published picture. I was 13 years old when it was published.
From the time that she first picked up a camera, Janet has displayed a knack for capturing the essence of her subject.
Janet's all seem very sort of spontaneous. They seem, she's not like trying to get them in different outfits or something like that. It's sort of really capturing the moment. That's what I think she really can do, is she really captures a moment, whether it's on stage or off.
Janet can capture the soul of the artist.
There's always a kind of a barrier that people set up around themselves, which is what photographers have to get through to make a person relax and do really good portraiture. And one of the ways that I worked that out was by interviewing them first. Because if you have a conversation with somebody and you have a connection with somebody, even if it's 15 minutes of an interview, then you're 20 steps ahead as a photographer, because that barrier has come down, and now you can take pictures that are really more genuine.
With her work appearing in such prestigious publications like Rolling Stone, the New York Times, and People magazine, Janet's photos gained the attention of some notable people. I
was one of 10 photographers there from all over the world, and it was because, Paul and Linda McCartney wanted me there. So that's my eureka moment, because it finally occurred to me that even without trying or even without knowing, that I'd risen to a certain level in this industry.
With a portfolio consisting of 35 years of work, Janet feels there are a few photographs that stand above the rest.
There are, I think they call them signature photos, that I'm most known for. These are photos that I think, it's like you hit the home run. You can get singles and doubles and triples in photography, but then you hit the home run. And there's a Bruce Springsteen shot of him with Nils Lofgren and Clarence Clemens at the lip of the stage, where it just symbolizes to me the energy of rock and roll. There's a David Bowie shot that's one of my favorites from 1983. It's just a classic David Bowie look, and he's just kind of looking disdainfully at all of us. But it's a shot that looks like it was done in a studio, and it wasn't. It was just, you know, that 60th of a second moment on stage. There's a shot of Aretha Franklin that I have, and she was transformed that night. She was singing, and her arm was up, and the light was coming down as if, you know, God was talking, and she was talking back to God, and that was the shot.
In 2000, Janet's portrait of Paul McCartney became a part of the permanent collection in the National Portrait Gallery in London. And in 2003, Janet was honored in her hometown when the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame held an exhibition of her work.
She was really excited. She said, "Hey, I'm going to get an actual exhibit." And I said, "Well, of course you are. You know, why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't this be the time to, you know, to honor your body of work?" And I was really proud of her.
The night that the exhibition opened, I was really, really, really nervous. And I stood up there and watched people come up the escalator, and I thought, so this is like dying, but not dying. I mean, this is like people coming to your funeral, only you're not dead. And they come and they say nice things to you.
When I saw the Janet's exhibit together, once it was finally together in our gallery here, it was very impressive. In my mind, it elevated you know, what I thought of her and her, you know, just in her photography. I mean, it really does rank her near the top, I would say.
Janet Macoska's work is on display all over the world. She's recognized as one of the best in her field. But in her mind, she's just a working photographer, and she's focused on just one thing, her next photo.
I just love photography, and the challenge is to go in there and have no idea what's going to happen and come back with pictures that tell a story and that make everybody look like rock stars.